My name is Darius J. Wright. I do controlled out-of-body states. I've been doing this my pretty much my entire life. I've been able to map out the whole creation of what we live in. Um, and through the many years of doing this, controlled states, I've been able to see certain things, access what people call the afterlife. So, what people are really looking for when they die, what happens after death? What does this place really look like? Well, I've been shown those things, and that's sort of what I do, and help other people try to see those same things, because seeing something is completely different from just hearing it, and that's sort of what I've been doing for a very long time. Yeah. I want to make this known that I had no idea of flat Earth. I had no idea of what this place actually would look like in that manner. I thought that this was just a planet. Like everybody else, I had that perception of things, of this is just a planet, etc. So the first time that I've ever seen this, just to give people context, I never knew about flat Earth until I was showing it. And even when I was showing it, I was in disbelief myself. I was like, well, this isn't, what is this? This isn't true at all. And then I started to come back and do research on biblical texts, biblical things, or even ancient mythologies. And I started to see that exactly what I saw out of my body was exactly what was written about all throughout history. And from that point, everything clicked, and I started to do research on this, and I started to do more controlled states, access this same thing. And listen, I promise every single one of you, whether if you see it now or you do not believe me, you're in disbelief now, I promise every single one of you, when you die, which we all will, you are going to see this very creation. We have a firmament, we are on a plane, and it's perfectly created. When you look at the NASA depictions and you look at all of these things, we have been indoctrinated into this false model, because that false model takes you away from who we actually are, which is the divine, the divinity that this is created. It takes you away from all these things. This place was created, and it is perfectly designed based off even our temples of the physical body. And you go through all throughout the text, all throughout the history where they built these, medieval castles, or what they say, but yet they were perfectly designed to access the ether and free energy, similar to what Nikola Tesla was doing. So my first experience when seeing this was just being shown the construct. It was a construct with waters above it. And I saw like it's on pillars, like it had a foundation to it. And so then when I was looking at it from the outside, I'm like, okay, well, this is fixed and it's immovable. Then I looked up translations, the fixed and immovable earth that they've written about biblically. And so this is something very interesting as well, because individuals, let's just say Christianity, religious, or even if they're, Hindu mythology, or mythology in general, where they talk about these things, you will find they all speak about this. But yet people want to believe something different, as I did in the past. But it's not true. There's a great deception that's taking place with everybody here. There's a great deception. And the biggest deception of them all is 100% this. But then you need to ask yourself, why would they hide this from you? And then you go into individuals like you, many people watching this, you may not even have a concept, or you do have a concept, but then you put more belief in the very government itself and the control systems, which you yourself don't believe and has your best interest in heart, but yet you believe them. You yourself know that the government does not have your best interest in heart, that all of these money laundering organizations, or just money harvesting organizations, do not have your best interest, but yet you listen to them blindly and believe what they say, because they, in this aspect of this as well hide behind titles of authority. And it's appeal to authority complex, which is going on. When you know they do not have your best interest, you know that they've also poisoned the very children that you have, and they poisoned you. But yet you believe what they say about the very place that we live in. And it's not true. And I promise every single one of you guys, it's not true. You will cross over, you will die, and you will see that it is not true. And you will see that this place is created. There's something that you could do here. You could look at these things. Ask yourself, why have they lied about something so big? And again, no concept of this coming out of my body. I had no preconceived idea, so you cannot say that it was in my subconscious belief system. Wasn't even there. And yet I was shown the same stuff that has been written about biblically through history. This place was created, and I've accessed and I've seen what is referred to as heavens. I originally called them realms. You could even call them kingdoms. But after viewing this multiple times, I realized that these are actually heavens, and that we have 12 heavens within this creation. And I've accessed and I've seen every single one of them. I've seen every single one of them. I've seen the foundation of here because we're physically here. This is the first heaven. I've seen the celestial heavens. I've seen the third heaven, the fifth heaven. I've even seen what is angels depicted in biblical texts and scenarios. Angels, seraphims, godlike figures, all connected to these 12 heavens. And they show you this in mythology. They show you this within the seven heavens of biblical texts. They show you this within the, they call it the book of Enoch. And so here you have all of these people that have in the past seen these things. They called them prophets, or they called them whatever. They had certain abilities. And here you have all these people saying the same thing, and here I am seeing the exact same thing. Each level of creation, you could say, has an individual, or each level of heaven within here has a individual source spark of each individual creator of it. Now, not necessarily that these creators of it, or these whoever's on these levels, are somehow greater or grander. It's just there was a template design based off what I've seen, that basically a group of souls came together with their particular experience to create this place that we're in. And again, this is not imagination. This is not a, oh, you're just dreaming. It has nothing to do with that. Don't mistake this as imaginary belief systems. Because if this was imaginary, how could I personally target individuals, target things in real time, verified proof, people write something on a piece of paper and me being able to see that number? That's not imaginary. How could I get a group of people together doing this from across the world, targeting each other, seeing things in real time? That's not imagination. The thing is, when you step out of the body, you access so much more. You access the true state of who we are and the truth of this place. Nothing is hidden from you ever. And that's what I've seen. I've seen the 12 heavens of this creation. And it is, you know, it lines up perfectly to everything that's written about.
In my line of work, investigating what this realm is on the from this side, not the other side, where we can pretty much see the truth about the physical land that we're on, but the heavens above, we only have theories. Nobody knows anything. And you say that you've seen the heavens above. Are they physical also? I know that you say when you go to the other side, your soul is more physical than the physicalness you're experiencing here. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, um, the, it's 100% more real than this physical experience. And I know that you see, the thing is, all right, we have no proof. That's the first thing. So how's what you're saying about these heavens real? We have no proof about it, but we do through history. I'm not the only one to tell people this or speak of this. We have this information all through history. But it's only those, really, Dave. It's only those that have the ability to see that was already there, because all the information and all the proofs actually there. But people, like I said, they will never come to it unless they are told by the very controlling government that controls every aspect of their life. All of a sudden they say it, watch everybody go, oh wow, it's been true all along. So the proof is actually there. The proof is there. And I've it's not only me that have accessed these heavens, but it's also other people that I've shown how to come out of body have accessed the heavens. And it's something that every single person can do. We'll go into the physicality. Now, the physicality is something important to understand, because we think that these physical bodies, this flesh suit that we have, is somehow so physical, and well, it is physical, but somehow your soul cannot be more physical than the very physical body that you have. And that is a massive misconception of what the understanding of just accessing more frequency and more light. These bodies can access 100% of the light spectrum. Yeah, they can if you activate the 13-strand DNA. But right now they can't. They're only accessing 1% of the frequency band, 1% of the light frequency band that we could actually perceive. But when you come out of the body, you access 100% of this. 100% of the light spectrum, 100% of the frequency bands that are out there. And it is more real and more physical than the physical body that you have right now. That's your soul. You never lose your sense of individuality, ever. Your soul is what's in this physical body. And once you leave this physical body, it will be no different in terms of, for temporarily, you'll exit the body and you'll feel like there's no difference. You'll be touching your soul, your hands, and you'll be like, wow, this is no different. And you'll look back and you'll see your physical body either sleeping or dead on the bed. And you'll instantly realize that that physical body was never you. It was just the vehicle. That's why we use my body. The soul is your true body. It is your true home. It is the eternal aspect of yourself. It is the infinite. And it is more physical and real than what you will ever experience here. Full stop. Full stop. when you come into this physical reality, this creation here, you could say certain things are pre-planned from the other side. Yeah, I've personally witnessed this myself. Many people have witnessed certain things. They, whether it's deja vu or they have a dream or whatever, they're showing a potential future, what have you. Many people have experienced this, but there are preset markers within this creation, even for yourself sometimes. And the moment that you start to veer off course, then yeah, you're going to get signs all the time. You're moving in the wrong direction. There's a lot of friction involved. But the moment you step onto the path, which just so happens to be love, do things in love, do things in truth, do things in courage, which is love, then all of a sudden the friction just falls away, because now you're walking on the path of, you could say, truth. Love is truth and truth is love, like I always say. And when you step out of that state, then you start to hit the very, the friction and everything uncomfortable. You see, some things as well are so pre-planned. To give you an example, 16 years old, I was showing this place, things that I'm doing now, exactly what I would be doing, the place that I'm in now, at 16 years old. How could that be possible? And I'm here showing people in my life that I never knew of here. Because some things are pre-planned. Some things are set in stone. They're written. And it doesn't matter what you do, it always hits. For instance, a preset marker is that everything within this creation will open and everybody will be free again. I know it. I've seen it. I have no doubt in my mind about it, no doubt in my heart that will not, that's not going to happen. It's going to happen because it's a preset event. So there's preset events, and then there's potentialities that we have. And in those potentials, we could take whatever path and course that we want, but we're always going to hit the fixed marker. That's something very important to understand. Well, it hits every single time, 100% of the time. Everybody's going to die and access the other side. You could say that's written in stone. Yeah. You access truth, everybody's going to access that. So doesn't matter what path you go on, you will hit the death marker and access the other side again.
And when you're in alignment and in the state of love, unconditional love. Now, several years ago, if you said unconditional love for everybody, I'd be like, well, that's impossible. That just can't be. There's people that are interfere in people's lives as their mission. And, there's a lot of people that, have so much rage. I actually can express love towards all of them now. And I couldn't even fathom that a few years ago. So, and I notice when I do that, it frees me, it lifts me up. And then synchronicities start happening in my life even faster and faster. And I'm going to combine that with, we speak about time. And on the other side, when you cross over, there is no time and everything happens instantaneously. And the analogy that you gave was a deck of cards. And if you were looking at deck cards face up and you kept flipping them over, the ones you flip over are the past, the one you're looking at is right now, and the ones below that is the future. But when you leave the other side, you kind of see through the whole deck at the same time. Can you speak about those things?
When we look at time, something that I've experienced with time is this is the best thing that I could ever, it was just the best example, full stop. Because when I say that that time is all happening at once, we get past, present, and future, and it's all experienced all the same on the other side. That seems very hard to understand because it's hard to visually or understand a concept like that. In this physical body, how we just experience linear time. And how I experienced it was one experience a being was showing me. And she said, this is how you experience time. She took a deck of cards and she put them out on the table. And she said, here, where you are in the physical body, you go from this event to this event to this event, all event driven. But how we view things on the other side is she took the deck of cards, put them all together. We both looked down through the center and we saw all happening all at once, all possibility, everything. This is what actually gave me even now a greater understanding of what it is with understanding the soul and the source. How when you leave this construct, this creation, and you could say even go back to the void and source itself, which is you, is experiencing all things and everything, yet none of them and all of them all at the same time. And this is why even back in that place, you could say there is no such thing as good or bad, because it's all happening. You see, duality is created. Duality is only created in this way. It happens when when you step into time. The moment you step into time, then you instantly manifest, or you instantly experience the duality. And that's something that I recently clicked on. I clicked on that. I was like, okay, well, we have this duality experience the moment. It's not even the moment you step into the physical body, but it's the moment that you step in, you could say, outside the void itself. Time is there, in a sense. No, to give you an example, when you're on the other side, you have the ability to create whatever it is that you want, your own constructs based off your will and your spoken word. When you step into those, you could say you're stepping into time, which gives you the contrast of whatever it is that you put your will into. And here we are in this physical body doing the same thing. But there, in that void space, in that source space, it's all possibilities. Everything's all happening. You could call it the universal records of all things. This is why all things are always known to all souls and everybody's naked. And this is why there's really no judgment either. Because if everybody's all naked and seen on the other side and loved all the same, then there's nothing that, even when you try to hide something here, there's nothing that's actually truly hidden. Not at all. You could even see past some of the lies too with certain individuals. You could see past that stuff the more that you step into love, because you could see authenticity. If you're authentically being yourself, you could see the contrast of those that aren't truly being authentically themselves. And what is authenticity? Authenticity, you could say, is the highest version of love. If you're not authentically yourself, then you're not loving yourself, which is not love at all. So you could see, like I said before, truth is love and love is truth. And so you could even see people that are just stepping out of those things, pretending, etc. I know that's going a bit off course, but it's to give a greater understanding too of what I'm trying to explain. We also have these, it's almost like the Trinity, levels of understanding based off where you are. You could say the physical body gives you a certain understanding, just being inside this physical experience, that yes, do things all in love, and there's consequences to this and whatever. But then you have the you could say a second part of the Trinity, which is the soul truth, which is yes, do all things in love and everything's forgiven, because no matter what an individual has done, the darkest things in all creation, no matter what it's done, the darkest of the darkest, that love actually returns it back home and all is forgiven. And then you go into the third aspect of that Trinity, which is, you could say, the source, which is the void, the source of all things, which is you, which is experiencing all things, yet none of it, the very I am and the very beingness of all things, just being, which is, you could say, there's purposeful good in all things in that aspect. And this is where you also see some of the what people would say is a paradox or a contradiction. It's really not. It's just based off what level you're at of understanding, which gives you the picture of all of this. It was supposed to be where you gradually remember who you are, and that this place becomes the very heaven itself. You could say the garden of life is supposed to be experienced here. We're supposed to go through a temporary forgetful process to return back to truth of who we are and awaken the divinity within ourselves through love. That's what it was supposed to be here. But it's not. And this is why there's such, Dave, there's such a push from the other side, from everything that I've seen, to wake people up. You know, because you could say there's been a lot of interference with things. There's a lot of interference, like the sun. The sun that we have, a lot of people think that that's, you know, yes, sometimes the true sun does spark through. But, you know, even NASA itself has a sun simulator patent. But I didn't even know of this in the past, but yet I've seen it years ago in an out-of-body state where I was going to the sun and I was actually seeing, I just called it a net over the sun. And so, yes, there's interference and a lot of things here. There's interference even with these physical bodies. Think about this for a moment. Follow this through. The reason why the sun shines is because of you. It's because of all of us. We are the very light of all creation, and we give light and life to everything around us. It's the reason why we look around and we see light all around us. It's because of us. And as above, so below, as within, so without. So think about what I'm saying here. As within, so without. Or you could say as without, so within as well. Vice versa. Now, what does spraying heavy metals in the sky do to the sun? It blocks out the full sun's potential to give you full access to awaken certain things within this physical body, you could say. It's blocking out that true potential of what the sun can be. You put a net over that. Now, what do vaccines, heavy metal vaccines, when you inject it into the body, what does it do to the physical body and the soul? Well, it does nothing to the soul, but it puts this filter, almost, you could say, because the soul's connecting in through the central nervous system. It could be fully aware, but it almost puts this slight filter over your soul's will fully expressing itself through the physical body and awakening all of these things online. So they're not only doing it from the micro, or you could say micro to the macro. They're doing it at both versions, from the sun that's shining to the sun that's within you. Because our soul is the very sun of all things. It gives light to everything. And so, yes, there's been a lot of things that the very they, and a lot of people don't want to hear of this. They don't want to hear of, you know, when they hear me speak, they want to hear of all the good things. And yes, there's good things, because listen, there's nothing at all that this place could ever really give you that the other side cannot fulfill for you. But they are attacking you at so many different levels. From the banking system, they're attacking you, trying to create this false means of the 0 point through currency. And yet we've given money as a source of, it's our God. We live and die for this thing. But it's only our mere belief in these things what gives it power. You see, currency was never supposed to be the way it is now as forms of controlling individuals. It was never supposed to be that way. Each individual soul is a value, but yet they've weaponized even this against you. They weaponized everything against you. So to understand the they, you need to understand what do they do? Okay, so what the they does is they control every aspect of your life. The they is control. It's fear, control over you at every single aspect. What the they is not is, you could say, what it's not is love. It's doing things in freedom, love for all things, love for everybody. So the they is very simple to identify in the 3D aspect of who they are. Banking systems are part of the they. The Federal Reserve is part of the they. Because what do? Money system, money printing, Federal Reserve, they control your entire life of what you can do and what you can't do. Based off how much money you have, where you can travel, where you could go, what you could afford. They've taken the basic necessities of life away from everybody and said to you, now you have to earn a living when you were born here. The very fact that you were born here means that you have the right to inherit this place. You don't have to earn to live here. This is your God-given right. The banking system, Federal Reserve, all based on control of every individual here, of what they could do. Because as long as money exists, there's always going to be people that have and have not. That's the first part. That's a big, very big one, and what they use for the controlling systems here. Who are the they? They hide underneath titles as well, because it's appeal to authority. Think about it. I talked about the flat earth. I talked about the firmament, but yet people won't believe that which I'm saying because it hasn't come from the government that they believe in based off titles. But it just so happens to be, everybody. Look at NASA. Look at NASA website, how they have simulation experiments. You look at certain documents that they have. It says flat non-rotating Earth, or or ballistic vehicle motion, or NASA. Certain documents that they have, you could see where they actually state that. They actually state these things. So that's important for people that don't have a concept of this, to look up what's actually the very government systems that you believe have your best interests in heart are actually saying that we live on a flat earth without directly saying it. Okay, so titles, they hide underneath all of those things. They give titles to everything to make somebody higher and lower, etc., and hide behind these false titles. Hide behind legislations and laws and stuff like that, because there's only really one law, and that's the universal law of all things, which is do no harm. And they put all these man-made construct belief systems of laws and regulations all to take you away from the truth of the universal law, what you could say is God's law, the other side's law. You're free to do as you wish, do no harm. So they hide underneath all these titles. Healthcare systems are part of the they. Think about what they do. They control the narrative of health. They have cures for things for people, but they won't give it to you because there's money involved in the healthcare system to drain you of your finances, to then not even fix the root issue, but just, you could say, curing the symptoms, but not curing the root cause of it, not realizing, or people not realizing, that the root cause of majority of their health issues just so happens to be with the whole food industry and what they pump into the food, the chemicals that they pump into the food, the chemtrails that they put in the sky. And it's all manufactured by all one organization, you could say. Religious systems, organizations are part of the they, because what do? They pump fear into you. They pump all this fear-based narrative into you. You will go to hell and eternal damnation. These religious systems, organizations have set up a system to put people into fear. They are part of the they. I've seen it out of my body inside of these organizations. The New Age movement is part of the they too, man. All these New Age things, part of the they, to take you outside of distorting love and what love would do in the face of harm. You see, so New Age things would have you sit there in the face of harm, do nothing, accept that. But that's actually what love would not do. When love sees harm taking place, love is courage, and love would do things in a courageous way to protect that which is being harmed. If someone's being murdered in front of you and you have the power to stop that, you would do that out of love. This whole New Age propaganda movement stuff is part of the they, man. Government systems are part of the they. The military industrial complex is part of the they. Tech and computer industries are part of the they. Controlling what you can do, what you could research, censorship has been across the board. It's all part of the they. Celebrities, most of the celebrities are part of the they. They've done a covenant contract or blood oath. Some of them haven't, but majority of them have. Man, they're all part of the day. Music industry is part of the day because they understand how hertz and frequencies work, and yet they pump that very hertz and frequencies into the mainstream field of the music industry, what people listen to, not even realizing that that very music that they listen to is actually destroying the very cells within their physical body because the waters within you, listen to this, when you speak into water, when you speak into water, water will change based off that which you speak to it. We have waters within us, the cells within us. What we speak to ourselves will dictate how our cells express themselves. So then when they pump this mainstream music industry nonsense into the public, what it's doing is it's just really destroying themselves, putting them into a survival state, into a hustle state. But again, I'm only showing you one aspect, one layer. In this layer, you go back to what I said about the Trinity, is the physical body layer of what they are. But again, without going too much into it, the they is all through this whole system that you live in. It's all here. Through every single aspect of your life is pretty much the they. Like in terms of control. There's systems here that aren't based on control, they are based on love. And they operate in love. They try to do things lovingly to change and help and support people. But the thing is that there's such a shadow, let's just call it a shadow government, even behind that, that controls all of these things. And people don't realize that they're being controlled. Like the healthcare industry. There's a lot of innocent people in there in that healthcare industry. And when people hear me say, oh, the healthcare industry is part of the they, then they're going to think that I'm pointing at each individual in there as part of the they. And that's not true at all because these people are innocent. They don't know any better. But the people behind that, knowing what they're doing and then indoctrinating those innocent people to believe that they're doing something, a benefit when it's actually to harm individuals, that's the they behind that organization, not the innocent people that just don't know any better. Because when they figure that out and they start to begin to realize, wait a second, I've been lied to, then you'll find they all start doing things good, you know? Is I came to a point like many other people come to, you know, I'm seeing all these things. I'm seeing the control systems. I have an understanding and I know that the soul exists outside the body. I know that there's a other side. I know that I'm accessing the heavens. I said, well, then what's the point of all of this? Because me personally, I was like, well, if there's actually no point, then I'm not going to stay here. What's the point of me being here if I have this information yet I could just sit back and do nothing about it? And then that's where I was showing what they consider the great work on the other side, which is waking people up to the other side. It's the only reason why I'm here still. You could say from the experience from Celeste from 16 years old that I had, which was showing me the celebration. You could say the heavens opening back up again, everybody becoming free here. That was one choice, or you could say choice point that I had to either stay on the other side or come back. And I made the decision to come back from that point because I know what is going to happen here and what's going to be fulfilled. Like I said, you know, going back to what we talked about before, what I shared, I'm in the exact same place of what I was showing when I was 16 years old. Now going to that second choice point from my Uncle Bob showing me about or telling me about the great work, I was at that point again. I was like, like, give me something here. I was like, what is the point of me knowing all of this and leaving my body, accessing more information, more information? What do I do with this? And the thing is, they call it the great work because once you wake up to the other side, you wake up to everything. You wake up to your true divinity. You realize that you are the infinite. You realize that you never die. You realize who you are and you have no fear. You become a fearless soul within this body. And the more people that realize, not even through out of body experiences, but just hear what I'm saying, listen to near death experience people. You never die. You are eternal. Your soul lives on forever, and you are the very infinite of all things. And you have authority on the other side over all things. That's important to understand because in all these experiences, I was in so much fear. I had fear of something could touch me, etc., and that infinitum. And the moment I realized that I can never be touched, that the soul cannot be touched, I realized that I have the authority on the other side, just like every other soul does. Love is the key to have dominion over all creation. And the thing is, too, this may go on a far note, but I want people to think about this as a possibility. As a possibility. If you leave your body, and many people have, and they've experienced this, where they have authority on the other side over their field in creation itself. If your soul is fully embodied here, if you believe it enough, getting rid of all these distortions, then you could have the authority here. And that authority for change only comes from what I said before, love. Love is the key to have authority over everything, to access all of the possibilities that we have been told is impossible. You have authority there and here when you understand that. You even have authority over your physical body when you understand that. Why is it that stress, in and of itself, people could understand this basic concept that stress scientifically kills you if you are in that state? Okay, well, what is stress? Stress is the opposite of love. It's fear. It's fear, anxiety, loss, etc. Opposite of love. So wouldn't love do the opposite? You see, we even have immortal genes within our physical bodies. Wouldn't love turn those on? And yet we have been steered away from this. I have access beyond, so out of here. Am I doing that currently? Not so much. I'm more trying to see personally. I've been trying to do this for, I would say, over a year now, of trying to figure out how to turn on certain things physically, just with the understanding that I have. But I have access beyond this construct, and you could say there are many. The amount of different constructs, creations on the other side are infinite. There is no end to them because they're all based off individual souls wanting to make something based off their will, their desire, their pleasure, etc. And so, but this is the only one where you step into where you completely forget who you are. It's that separation, it's the illusion of separation. You never really separate it from source itself or you, but it gives you that illusion. But I've seen so many. It's infinite. It's like trying to find the end to your imagination. You can't do it. There's a analogy that I gave before. I want to give it here too. Imagine the other side like this. So you're on the other side, and you have, or you're walking down a town. So you're completely outside of this construct, and let's just imagine it's like a street, sidewalks, walking down a town, and you have all these different houses here, there, what have you. Well, each house is a construct on the other side. And when you step into a house, someone's creation, it's all going to have slightly different rules within that house based off the individual soul that made it. It's going to look slightly different. And the rooms within that house you could say, are the dimensions, the dimensional spaces, etc., etc. Now, you could step out of that house, walk down the sidewalk, and go, oh, there's a hotel. And then you pop into that construct, and etc., etc., etc. That's a way to understand what I'm talking about when it comes to when I reference that there are many different constructs on the other side, and that when you're outside of here, you could pop into a number of them. They're infinite, and they're all slightly different. That's a way to understand it.
This might be a silly question, but is it possible for a person to um, physically leave a construct and go to another construct?
Uh, I have no idea.
Good answer.
I actually have no idea.
All right.
Good question. I mean, I know that there was a great flood. I do know that. I know the Milky Way is part of that as well. Um, there were still oceans back in that day, but a lot of the structures that we have now, or the structures that are underneath the ocean, no, I wouldn't say they were originally built down there. The ones that we're discovering are the ones that we're finding. No, that was all part of the Great Flood, and they were a lot of things were buried or underneath the oceans now. I know that this place is a lot larger. Now, I've seen other land masses, yes, but I can't necessarily identify or name them. I don't know, but I have seen other land masses. But you do hit a certain point where you hit this you hit the firmament, and then when you pass that, you're passing through this water. It's water. You know, you're passing through this water, which is like this, what they would say is space, and then when you pass through it, then you access another layer of heaven.
Do you have any information? It appears, a lot of these old world buildings have hundreds and hundreds or thousands of rooms and no bathrooms or one bathroom. Did people used to not eat food? Did something change? You know anything about that?
I would say we were not eating as nearly as much as we are now. Um, back in that time, so I know through experience. So I'm just talking off direct experience here. I know what, based off what I was showing, is that the original food for the physical body was fruit. That's pretty much it. It wasn't a lot of it. We had a lot more oxygen in the atmosphere. This is why the trees were a lot bigger too. Everything was much different. So there's a lot more things. We did not need to eat as much as we do now, if at all, because we were connecting more to our infinite supply, the 0 point, the true 0 point, which is the soul. And the soul was fueling the physical body. This is where we had more capabilities physically than we do now. And for some people that may be hard to understand. So people would say, well, wait a second. So you're telling me we didn't have to eat? Well, if you don't eat for 3 days or a week or whatever, you're going to die, et cetera, whatever they say. But then there was actually a study done on an individual that didn't eat for an entire year straight. Through that year, he drank tea and coffee pretty much. Now, I do know that there are biblical, what they call the biblical ages, people that have lived hundreds and hundreds of years. I know that some of them are still here. I know that some of those beings are still here. I remember seeing some of the giants that are still here. And then you had whistleblowers come out in the military industrial complex sharing the red-haired giant that they shot, etc. There's so much proof in terms of even the giant footprints. There's a thing as well. It is there's a place. I believe it's in Thailand, maybe, I believe, but it is where it shows you it's giant snakes. Like it looks like giant snakes. So things were a lot larger here. And some of these beings, some of these entities are actually still here. They never left. They never left. Some of the angels are still here that never left. Some of the extraterrestrial races from these other heavens above are still here. They look exactly like humans, but they're still here. Part of this whole, what they call three eye atlas or what have you, that's connected to the 10th heaven. It's not through space and from another planet or galaxy. It has nothing to do with that. These beings have been here in the past, and they're still here now, and some of them are coming down from those higher planes of existence from above, down here. And and that is the truth. That is honestly the truth. And no matter how somebody wants to perceive that or take that, That is just the truth of what I've seen. You know, we even have, for instance, NASA took a picture of, I don't know the exact code that they called it, but they took a picture that looked just like what they biblically depict a seraphim to look like. And they took that, they took that photo and it looks like a seraphim. But this is how little I know about things. I had no idea what a seraphim was. I didn't even know what that word was. Seraphim. First time I heard of it, I had to look it up. What is a seraphim? And it was because I came out of an experience where I was accessing what is the eighth heaven within this creation, where the seraphims are. And then I look it up and I'm like, okay, well, yep, that's what I saw. And then here you have NASA taking photos of what looks like biblically depictions of a seraphim. And here I am knowing that, okay, well, that's a real thing because that's connected to the eighth creation within this construct. It's the eighth heaven. All of these beings are real is what I'm trying to tell everybody. And some of them are still here. This is not imagination in that way. It's not a fantasy land. What's fantasy is what NASA has given you in terms of their model of whatever. That's the fantasy.
My great work, which is the same as you, to wake people up. I mean, that is literally, I've dedicated my whole life to this. It's the only thing that really matters to me. And just when I wake up one person, whatever it takes, it's the greatest amount of joy that I've ever experienced.
Mm. And that's what's needed. I had a vision. This had to be, it's 2 months ago. I actually had this. I didn't share it at all yet publicly. This will be the first time I've actually said it. Is that the vision was this. I saw civil unrest happening all over the place. People. And it wasn't necessarily for the reasons of what people think it is. Like, people would think that that's a very scary thing. That's a fearful thing. But all I saw is people just finally, the civil unrest was people just standing united for all things good, doing all things for the benefit of people, humanity, because everybody's getting the opportunity right now to do that. They're being shown all of where the systems say that they're going to do something, but they do the complete opposite. But obviously, people like us has known this for a very, very long time. A very long time. But it's the people that don't know of this. It's the people that are completely asleep are the ones that I'm trying to reach, because it's them that needs to be reached the most. And they're being reached because everything in their life that they build their life off of have been built off of falsehood and comfort. And truth isn't necessarily always comforting. It's not always comforting. Wasn't for me, wasn't for you either, Dave, when you realize certain things. It's not always comfortable. There's a realization and it's like, oh wow. But sometimes it could rub the wrong way. And that's what's happening with so many people from because individuals base their entire life on the monetary system, working this job or that and this label and this title. But that system is self-destructing based off the very energy that it has extracted from the very people. And now because they're so unstabilized, they're finally getting a chance to say, wait a second, why am I here? What is the purpose of all this? That's the question that changes everything, because that's the question that gives them the opportunity to see and search and hear messages like this. Because the reality that they have lived in is falling apart, and everybody's having no choice. There's really no choice in this matter because everybody is eventually going to come to the same understanding, the same truth of things, which is really the truth of the other side, and then being that here.
All right, so with the work the things that I've discovered, and then your work finding me right at the right time, it's removed fear from my life completely. I have no fear, and life is way way better when you don't have false evidence appearing real.
It Everybody says the same thing, like it's just I have no more fear, you know, and that's the point because there's really nothing to fear because n- nothing nothing here, nothing could really ever be taken from you here that is not given on the other side back to you.